Could there hypothetically be amazing times ahead when it comes to the internet computer in terms of its fundamentals? Well, hypothetically, I'd have to say yes if I'm asked that question. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, I'm going to talk about $100 later, even though it's not the easiest thing to kind of think about right now. But I'm still going to talk about that later. Again, the idea of maybe $100. But still, why do I think there's amazing times, maybe hypothetically, ahead for the internet computer, fundamentally speaking? It's because I think sometimes because of this price, people often ignore the Solana and Ethereum virtual machine integrations that we have when it comes to ICP. And I think this is very revolutionary because supposedly, right, even, Dfinity, they made a post on X, and in one of the posts, they made this like statement where the internet computer enables smart contracts to interact with external blockchains like Ethereum and Solana without a single point of failure. Now, this is pretty interesting. Now, first of all, before I continue any further, they say without a single point of failure. I mean, I guess I'll believe that. I mean, I have no way of proving them wrong, right? But I'm just saying, I'll take it what it is. But still, besides that, why, generally speaking, I think it's pretty awesome seeing something like, Solana and Ethereum virtual machine integrations. Well, it's because Ethereum is a very massive layer one blockchain. Sometimes people out there like to tell me, oh, the internet computer is going to overtake, some of the giants, like maybe in Ethereum one day. I kind of don't, necessarily think that way because even though the internet computer has an average cost per instruction that is over 40 million times less expensive than Ethereum allegedly, and how for $1 worth of smart contract data, supposedly on Ethereum around 44 bytes, whereas on the internet computer over 200 million bytes, even still despite supposedly me believing that type of stuff, I just think Ethereum's too popular. So why work against it, and why not quite essentially work with it, right? Why not have, those Ethereum virtual machine integrations? That's a way to take a look at it. I think fundamentally, the internet computer seems more dynamic to me, but it just doesn't make it more popular. Something being better fundamentally does not make it more popular, in some cases. However, also on top of that as well, Solana is an emerging layer 1 blockchain. It's going to be more popular than the internet computer, I think, in the foreseeable future, probably because it just has way better adoption. There's just more going on when it comes to Solana as opposed to the internet computer. So I like how it's actually working with arguably some of its, quote unquote competitors, I would say. Whereas some other projects out there, they don't want to work with the more popular ones. Like they don't really want to have integrations, I should say, in that sense. But then the internet computer, it's not like they're saying, oh, we don't need them and all this. Why not? Why not work towards it somewhat, right? Why not have, these integrations? That's the way to take a look at it. And this is why I still like the internet computer, because at a time like this, especially when the price of ICP is around $3, which actually for a moment in time it did go below $3, but then now it's slightly above $3. But it may change, right? In the short term, a lot of things could happen. But then at the same time, at a time where the price isn't necessarily doing the best, what I focus on is the project at least doing something? In this case, yeah, I think it's at least doing something because this is at least something for me to be excited about at a time where it's quote unquote kind of boring, right? The price isn't doing much. It's been going down by a lot, and I get it. It's not that easy sometimes to even think about, like the idea of maybe $100 or even $50, even $10 at this point. But keep in mind, ICP not too long ago was over $18, right? And that was without altcoin season in my perspective. But that's just my point of view. I mean, when I take a look at something like the internet computer as well, people like to tell me, oh, wow, when it comes to caffeine AI, no one's really going to care about that. And as of right now, I would say that to a certain extent, it's not like it's cared about too much, right? Because caffeine AI just isn't really that talked about currently. And it is kind of like a little bit disappointing for me to see because I think it is so revolutionary. I mean, it's a self-writing apps platform. It's pretty cool. Like it could maybe help developers use AI to, create applications. So it is, pretty revolutionary in and of itself. I like what Dfinity is doing. But then again, the price of ICP just isn't doing the best, so then it's not really cared about that much. But I think to date, right, as of right now, I think caffeine AI is actually the biggest thing that's already kind of happened surrounding the internet computer. I think so far. I really do believe that. It's just so revolutionary, and I just think it's so amazing. But then again, if let's say the price does go up, let's say ICP just goes back to $10, The sentiment when it comes to caffeine AI could be completely different, which is why I haven't given up. I haven't forgotten about the moments about ICP at above $10, above $15. I haven't forgotten about that. And I know that it's completely different from right now. And actually, back then, fundamentally, the internet computer wasn't doing as good as it is currently, in my perspective, right? Because we take a look at stuff with caffeine AI and all this. So then, personally, if let's say there was an altcoin season and ICP maybe even did better than before, if the rally before maybe looked like a small glimpse of maybe what's to come, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Which is why I'm still thinking about $100. It is around a 32x from here currently, so I do get that. I mean, it's not necessarily doing the best, but then at the same time, it is still something I'm thinking about because the market cap at that point would be around 54 billion, considering current circulating supply. Like, it just doesn't seem too ridiculous maybe to me. It's not like it's going to need like an $800 billion market cap or something like that to reach the $100. That's just my perspective, but there's only one thing I can do really, and that's just stay patient and just wait for maybe if there's a time where altcoin season happens. But in the meantime, at least I like seeing stuff about the internet computer. It at least gives me something to, I would say, entertain myself, right? Because seeing something like, the possibilities of maybe what the Solana and Ethereum virtual machine integrations could bring for the internet computer and also caffeine AI, it at least keeps me entertained at a time where it's generally kind of boring in terms of the price. So again, I haven't given up. Fundamentally, I think the internet computer actually improved despite the price going down. So it's actually a little bit harder for me to give up on it than actually to believe it. So I'm still going to believe in it. I'm not telling you to do anything, but I'm still staying patient. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.